Good morning, students. Welcome back to Chapter 3. We're going to be starting ecology in Chapter 3. In Section 1, you should be able to do all these things, and you should know all these key terms. So, by the end of the lesson, if you don't, go back, watch again until you get them. If you want to take a screenshot, go ahead, and we'll get started. All right, so ecology. What is ecology? Great question. You've probably heard it before, and I figured what better way to explain ecology than my favorite movie, Finding Nemo. If you haven't noticed, this is the scene from Finding Nemo in the coral reef. Here we see Nemo and we see Marlin and all Nemo's little friends, the school bus here. Okay. So when we talk about what is ecology, the definition of ecology is it's the study of interactions between organisms and their physical environment. Okay, so it's the interaction between organisms and their physical environment. All right, and ecology is a very, very detailed subject, and it involves everything from how organisms interact with one another, how their environment interacts with them, how things prey on other animals, or if something's a predator. So there's a lot to ecology. And if we notice here, right, in Finding Nemo, we have our little fish friends. We have Nemo, we have Marlin, we have the school bus and all the little kids, right? But if you also notice, we have other types of living organisms besides fish. We have different types of coral and anemones and other things. We have the silty sand bottom. Maybe we have some rocky outcrops up here, right? We also have, obviously, water all throughout here. And of course, if you don't remember, we have the dentist that comes in and swoops up Nemo. Okay, so all these things come together in ecology, right? We're studying how these different organisms interact with one another and with their environment. All right, so when we start talking about ecology, we're talking about ecology which is studied in the biosphere. Okay, and the biosphere refers to all life on Earth and all parts on Earth where life is found. Okay, and this includes everything from mountains, deserts, forests, oceans, lakes, ponds, deep oceans, miles under the sea. Okay, so the biosphere is the entire Earth and all of the life that is found on Earth in all the different places. Okay, so when we study ecology, we study it in the biosphere. Now, in ecology, right, organisms are going to respond to changes in their environment. Okay, and then those organisms are going to affect their environment. This is crucial because it produces an ever-changing biosphere, right? The key thing to take from this is that ecology, life on Earth, is always changing. Okay, if we look down here, right, we have an example of like a food web. So we have these little krill, these shrimp that feed on algae. Okay, and then lots of things eat the shrimp, the krill. We have herring, and we have seals, and we have birds, and we have penguins, right? And then higher up on the food chain, we have other seals that eat the little birds, eat the penguins, and then eventually we have killer whales, right? And blue whales, which are going to eat each other. Okay, so again, we see that organisms respond to their environment. They're all interacted and connected through a food web. And the main thing to take is that the biosphere ecology is always changing because organisms are having different effects on the ecosystem. All right, so to talk about ecology, we're going to have to organize it to be able to go forward and talk about different levels of ecology and how it's affected. All right, so we can think about the first level as individual organisms. And I figure what better way to talk about this than my favorite spirit animal, the narwhal. Okay, my little friend the narwhal here. Yes, it's a real creature. Okay, unicorn of the sea. So we can have one individual narwhal. All right, but narwhals can get pretty lonely. And that's why the next level of organization we could have is a population. Okay, so a population would refer to all the narwhals in a specific area. So now, lonely narwhal here now has a whole group of narwhal friends. All right, you wouldn't want to be in front of this group because you'd end up on one big shish kebab. All right, so population, all the species, certain type of one species in an area. So it would be all the narwhals in one area. The next level is the community. And a community refers to all the different populations, okay, all the different populations of different species that are found in a certain area. So narwhals live in a community with halibut, Okay, narwhals eat halibut. They might also live in a community with little shrimps. Oh, shrimpy, yay. Okay. They eat shrimp, but they also live in a community with like all the polar bears, the polar bear population that lives with them in the Arctic, right? And polar bears are a natural predator of narwhals. Pretty cool. The polar bears will actually jump on the ice and attack the narwhals and eat them. Okay, so a community is all the different populations of different species that live together. All right, from a community, we then get an ecosystem, the next step up, right? So an ecosystem is all the different communities plus the physical environment, right? So narwhals and polar bears and halibut are found in the Arctic, all right, under the ice sheets here. So the ecosystem would be all three of these guys, right? They're all living here in the polar regions, in the Arctic, okay? The polar bears work on the ice, right? They need to use it to hunt the narwhals. The narwhals need to be able to get through the ice, right? So they can breathe because they're mammals. So the ecosystem refers to all the communities, which is all the different populations, right? And their surrounding environments. The next level we can get to is a biome, right? And a biome refers to all the same types of ecosystems found around the Earth, okay? So if we look here, right, we know that they're found in the Arctic. So maybe we have narwhals, just so if you're not aware, this is the North Pole, okay? So this is the Arctic Ocean. It's usually all ice, but global warming is melting it. Different video, different story, right? So we may have some narwhals that hang out over here by Canada and Greenland and polar bears, right, and halibut. That would be one ecosystem. But if you notice, right, the habitat is going to be exactly the same over here in Mother Russia, okay? There's still going to be polar ice caps. There's still going to be narwhals. There's still going to be polar bears. There's still going to be halibuts, right? Two different ecosystems on different sides of the Earth, okay? And this refers to a biome, right? If you remember, we talked about the biosphere is the Earth and all the living creatures on it. Two biomes, you can consider, here's the definition, are very similar ecosystems, but geographically located in different places. So again, we could have two ecosystems of narwhals and all these things. We could have one in Canada, and we could have one in Russia, okay? Two different biomes, very similar, but in different places. All right, and the last thing we'll talk about is called biotic and abiotic factors. And we'll start off with biotic factors, okay? So a biotic factor is any type of factor that may infect an environment that is a living thing, okay? So biotic factors are living things that infect an ecosystem. So some of these may be like lions, right? Lions would be a biotic factor for maybe a wildebeest, okay? Lions are going to prey on the wildebeest. A biotic factor would be grass, okay? The wildebeest are going to eat the grass, okay? Grass is a living thing. If there's no grass, the wildebeest die. Trees are a biotic factor, right? Trees are going to provide shade so animals can stay cool, okay? So biotic factors are all living things that have an effect on the environment, right? If we take away the grass, the wildebeest are going to die. If we take away the trees, no one will have shade and they'll get really hot and smelly. If you take away the lions, right, there's going to be nothing to prey on the wildebeest population. And this is different than abiotic factors, which, as you know from our prefix a, right, Latin prefix a means no. So abiotic factors are factors that affect the environment that are non-living, okay? They are not alive. And some of these factors would be like rain or water, right? Water is not a living thing. We know that from our characteristics of living things. But it definitely affects the environment, right? It allows the grass to grow. It allows trees to grow. It gives animals something to drink, okay? So water would be an abiotic, non-living. Another one would be the sun, right? The sun allows photosynthesis to happen, right? It gives plants energy, okay? The sun is not a living thing, but it still heavily influences the environment. Another one would be different types of soil, right? We could have sandy soil or silty soil or hard clay, okay? The type of soil found in an ecosystem is going to affect the type of plants that are found there. And that will affect, again, the animals and all the other living things. So we have two factors that affect ecosystems: biotic or living things, or abiotic and non-living things. Whew, and that's it, kids. So that really got us a good kickoff to start ecology. I can't wait to go outside and play and look at some cool animals and stuff like that. So review, if you don't know any of the key terms, if you don't aren't able to do any of the objectives, go back, watch it again. Make sure you take really, really good notes, detailed notes that we'll check. And again, if you have any questions on material, shoot me an email or tweet at me at Mr. Toto 13. Hey guys, peace out. Have a great one. See you later.